Would you allow my wife to talk first?
My name is Myung-Nim, and I'm the mother of Myung. Yesterday was his 41st birthday, but instead of celebrating, I was grieving. Because LAPD played my son inside my own apartment. He was scared, confused, and needed help, so I called for mental health support for him. But instead of treating him with care, they treat him like a criminal. They treated my son in his parents' home like an intruder, and they killed him. This is wrong. This is not excusable, and I'm not going to be silent regarding this. My son's life mattered. I live every day with the pain of not being able to save him, even though I tried everything I could. What was done to him was unjust and cruel. This should never have happened. Do not let this happen to anybody, any other family. Treat every human life with dignity, especially when someone is in crisis, please.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sir, I'm sorry, before you begin, put the puppet down. You give us the finger already 2 times. You two have had your first and last warning. Be respectful of these people coming here to give public comment for their son that's been lost. This is your first and only warning. I'm sorry, sir, please go ahead.
President Dr. Suders, Vice President Shields, Commissioner Josh, and Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon, Executive Director Sibley, Chief McDonough, Inspector General Aragon. My name is Dr. Min Yang, USC Trojan, and father of Yong Yang. Yong was a 40-year-long LA resident and was brutally killed 11 months and 6 days ago. Allow me to give brief comments and requests. LAPD was to assist the DMH for transporting Yong to USC Hospital with patient's consent. LAPD only did less than 3 minutes of talking over the closed apartment door in 3 different occasions over a 1.5 hour period. That was all, even without compassion. LAPD should not have had used force since Yong, the patient, did not consent. LAPD chose to use force unjustly and violated Yong's civil rights severely, which led his death. LAPD chose not to use the non-lethal options they had at the side, a taser and a projectile launcher. 3 deadly bullets punctured his heart, lung, stomach, pancreas, liver, intestines, spine, ribs, and others. Yong was denied to get immediate medical care when LAPD sent the paramedics away swiftly within seconds after shooting. Slowly and painfully, Yong led to death. There was no meaningful medical interventions until death was announced by Los Angeles Fire Department medic 14 minutes after shooting. They also arrived 8 minutes after shooting. We were informed of Young's death 1 hour after his death. We were outside and waited for 8.5 hours until police moved away and let us in. We were asked questions for 3 hours at the Olympic Station while announcement to media was made depicting Young as violent and dangerous. Commissioners, I urge you to conduct a thorough and serious review. Please endeavor until you get to know the full truth, because Young's life matters as much as anyone's son or daughter of you guys. You are there to protect LA residents through upholding law and Constitution, by ensuring officers held accountable, by demanding department policies to protect life and civil rights, and by representing community voices, especially those harmed by police actions. And I demand that you do not fail again. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am so sorry.
Can I make a quick request?
Sure.
Commissioner Solis? I know that this case is, will be taken up in closed session, but I'm wondering, or I would request, I would like to see investigation of the aftermath and how, when parents were notified and things that we don't necessarily get to see in closed session, because it's not part of the investigation, the use of force investigation. But I think that merits some consideration, just to see like what the process was and what our policies are. So if we can request, I don't know if that's an inspector general.
That's an investigation, you'll get it all.
We'll get that, even the parents at the station and things like that.
That's part of the investigation,
Okay.
the notifications.
Okay, well, so depending on,
Thank you.
Alright, so today this commission will determine if Young Yang's murder was the policy, but here are the facts. His murderer pig, Andres Lopez's career won't end today. It won't end despite this being the second person he shot in mental crisis. Lopez had been on the scene the longest. He had spent time speaking with Young's father, and despite his own history of shooting someone in mental crisis, Lopez volunteered to be the primary pig to confront Young in the apartment, and was allowed to. Now, Lopez was the one who decided to start entering without announcing they were pigs into the apartment, and the first words that came out of his mouth as he pried that door open was, "Hey, hey, hey, you're gonna get shot." Who fucking says that to someone clearly in mental distress who believed that people were out to kill him? And tragically, Young wasn't wrong. Lopez fired 3 shots, not because he felt threatened, but because he saw an opportunity to do what every pig in this department seems to dream of doing, shooting someone down. And he'll point to the fact that Young had a knife in his hand, but as your pigs entered the apartment, Young's other hand was raised, retreating, clearly in fear of his life. He was terrified of who was coming in, and Lopez gunned him down. Young didn't threaten him, nor did he make any move to stab any pig. You murdered their son in their own living room. And after shooting Young, Lopez showed no remorse. In fact, he callously said, "Who wants to cuff him up?" In Young's final moments, his killer stood over him, ensuring he died in custody. It's nothing short of sinister. Now, the LAPD released footage of their pig, Luis Friends Acuna, shooting at a passing vehicle in quote-unquote self-defense. This footage directly contradicts the narrative pushed by this department and the media. The LAPD went as far as charging the driver with assault with a deadly weapon on a pig, despite there being clear evidence that there was no immediate threat to Acuna. Acuna was actually looking for an opportunity, again, to fire his weapon. And the deception doesn't end there. Despite Acuna living in Montclair, the LAPPL reported him as displaced during the Eaton fire and even solicited donations on his behalf. Now, we had to shell out $4.5 million to pig Randy Rangel because LAPD decided to target him for reporting that another pig, Humberto Najera, was repeatedly committing overtime fraud. Now, the LAPD chose not to investigate these allegations because any extra eyes on that contract with the MTA could potentially jeopardize it and expose how the LAPD uses overtime to pad the pockets of its pigs. Najera earned more than $346,000 in overtime pay alone in 2022 and 2023. Now, word is out. McDonald informing her through a subordinate that she was done. It's quite a cowardly move, Jim. More than likely, we'll see a lawsuit soon from Rhodes, given the false narrative that the LAPD and LAPPL have spread in regard to the release of the headshot photos. I also want to talk about the license plate readers. We all know you use that to trail us, to surveil us. It's no question at all. And so, yeah, we don't want any more fucking license plate readers. Fuck the LAPD, justice for Yang Yang. Fuck y'all.
Next, we have Mona M.
Okay, they're good. So,
Thank you, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, what items would you like to speak on?
All items, please.
Okay, a few minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Chief McDonald, OIG, Commissioners, Commissioner President. What may sound like anger from a community of survivors may actually be fear, frustration, and rejection of the justice system, starting with the LAPD. I would like to address what has become the word of the day, or the phrase of the month, elevating misdemeanor crimes into hate speech or hate crimes. I'm not protesting or advocating against a religion. I'm talking about Scientology. I'm advocating and protesting the crimes and abuses that are happening because of them and within the religion. No crimes or abuses should be cloaked or excused because they are done in the name of a religion. Prince versus Massachusetts, Supreme Court decision decided that a long time ago, that no religious right did not supersede a basic human right, a civil right, and the law, simply the law. As an example, your religion can believe in cannibalism. It doesn't mean that you're allowed to eat people. Remember what every Scientologist is told every time they do a session, and I quote, "While we cannot guarantee you that matters revealed in this list will be held forever secret, we can promise you faithfully that no part nor any answer you make will be given to the police or the state." I'm not going to finish that quote because, Chief, you just talked about encouraging victims coming forward to report their crimes and not be afraid. Children from the day one of Scientologists are told to mistrust and to fear authorities, especially police. That's not encouraging people whatsoever to report their crimes. And we would like to have a discussion with you. I've asked many times. And just when you asked that lady previously, if she would talk with you, I know you can ask us. Audit LA is there. She's part of this. She understands what we're dealing with. Please, let's have communication so that way all victims can report if they need to. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
Next, we have Audit LA.
sorry, I'm having cheer. Sorry. All items, please. I want to give my condolences to these parents that broke me. Please invest more in an MEU unit where people are trained to handle crisis. I have a friend with a son who's on the spectrum, and she has had to call LAPD to help her because and I begged her never to do that again because you don't know who they're going to send. And I shouldn't have to tell anyone not to call the police, you know, but so please work on that. But I come here about Scientology as well. A couple of weeks ago, you heard from actual victims, one of them being the niece of the actual leader of this. And they want it to be a hate crime to say cult. Is it a hate crime to say gang? Because if you look at the definitions of gang or cults, everything they do lines up with it. And if they want to be in a cult or a gang, that's their prerogative, but it's not their prerogative to commit crimes against others. And that is happening both inside and outside of Scientology. And you know, and they're trying to, like this, I'm really concerned about the hate crime thing, because somebody took down a wreath, okay, after Christmas. They don't even celebrate Christmas. It was, you know, ready to go probably in the trash anyway. And that person is charged with a hate crime. I believe the bail on that was like $50,000, if I'm not mistaken. You know, $350,000 total for like little misdemeanors like tampering with those planters. That, you know, the law, they broke the law with it being ADA non-compliant planters, but somebody got tired of that and kind of just messed, you know, like messed with one. He's charged with the hate crime. They're not charged with the hate crime for preventing my egress and regress, you know, because it's ADA non-compliant. They're not even looked into, they're not investigated, there's nothing. And that's only a minor crime. What about the people that have come here and saying, look, we were raped inside that blue building. There's other children being harmed, and there's seniors being neglected and harmed. And you know, they make it like a compound where they chase you out. That's like a gang. They have their territory and they run you out. They've used LAPD to run us out. I mean, I really have a suit against you guys. I don't want any more, I don't want that money from this city, but I have a suit that I am, you know, I can pursue, because LAPD prevented my First Amendment rights to travel or to go through there or to protest, because they use LAPD to do their bidding. A couple of weeks ago, they got Hollywood Division. I'm pretty sure it was them who did it, because I bumped into a big, you know, the one who's on CPAB. I keep begging you to get her off. And so the captain made it a private meeting, even after telling me to, you know, that I can come to the meeting, and I couldn't, because then I was deprived because of her. It really needs to be looked into, sir, and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go puppet.
Oh, man, hold on. Wait, I'm sorry, like I'm not joking, my chair is broken.
Take your time.
Wait, sorry.
No.
So, you know, only one paying attention is Asha, so just note that over across the street at the city hall meeting, purposely started the meeting early so that I can attend both meetings. So this is your collusion. So this is what you do. And we've got hundreds of people looking into this nationwide. We got attorneys in New York, we got attorneys in Washington DC. They're recording all these meetings and they're noting what you're doing. And so this is just another guy, you know, and you know what it is, right? It's a fucking snitch, right? I mean, who's gonna set up a $15,000 studio and claim they're on the block? So it's all happened. But we have a good news for you today. And this is directed at your police chief. You apparently don't do your job according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. So they're going to do it for you. Breaking news, the United States Attorney's Office today has opened up a homeless services fraud joint task force. What a disgusting fucking example. That you guys won't do a simple audit and tell us where the money went. We know where the money went. We got a guy that's coming down here today with over 10,000 pages. He'll tell you every dollar. Offshore accounts, fine. Swiss bank accounts, got it. Proton accounts, got it. Signal chats, got it. You don't think we can hack Signal chats? You know, you had a guy that was just begging me for months. Wayne, go to Signal. Wayne, go to Signal. Wayne, go to Signal. They're hacking your phone, Wayne. They're hacking your phone. What? What do you think? I'm fucking stupid? I mean, you know, yeah, I wear a Santa Claus hat in fucking April. Let's give you that. But you think I'm that fucking stupid? And you still haven't figured out what I used to do before I became a lawyer. You haven't figured out my own career because you can't. You keep digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. You can't fucking find it because you can't find it because they're not gonna let you find it. That's why I had to go to school and get an education. That's why I don't spell shit like your handout outside. Quote, Q-O-U-T-E. You got it on your back. Quote. What is that? Is it a quote or is it a quote? See, you don't even read your own fucking editorial to make sure there's proper spell check. You people are out of your fucking minds. And see, so it's all coming together now. And the only thing that I need is for you and your city attorney to simply release my records that you hid on my March 30th, 2017 swatting incident in Canoga Park. So that I can reopen my case and go to the nice federal judge and get fucking paid. Please do it for me, Jim. I'm getting old, man. I need your help.
Mr. Herman?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Let me spell it for you in this handout here. Inspirational QQUTE. I don't know how to spell or read, but goddamn, why did the peanut call the cops? Because it was salty. Why do you call a cop in the bed? An undercover cop. But listen, Django, attorney over there, Mr. Django, due to your prior restraints on my First Amendment, you too collaborate in my civil rights and violations under the American Disability because I'm a retard. A little puppet that calls Mr. Django a retard. Is that offensive? What the fuck you did to the child of the parents who came here this morning complaining about why you shot a person with mental health like reason? Why is that, Django? Mr. Inspector General, can you believe this fucking shit? They're out killing people with mental health because they think they have a right to. No fucking way, Jim. Is Herman next? Are you gonna shoot Herman just because he waves a plastic knife? Or because he pulls a big dick out in a city meeting and says the city of Los Angeles sucks a dick like this one? This is big, Jim, big. This is big problems. And for that reason, Jim, what were you guys doing with all the money to help the homeless? I want an internal investigation and audit where the fuck the money went for homelessness. Each time I went to the city building and complained about getting off the fucking street when I was homeless for 2 fucking years, no one seemed to fucking find the money. Where's the fucking money at, Jim? Is it because I suffer from mental health? Nobody here wants to help me. Well, this poor fucking family has to suffer with the consequences of your fucking selfish pig. Yeah, we just like a pig. Oink, 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 oink. Let me wear my cap, oink, oink, in the month of spring one day so I can celebrate. Yay! Now to my final comment, 42 USC 1983 politely. Fuck you! Fuck the police! NWAMOU, I got my rights. I know my rights. Fuck you, Mr. Attorney, for the record.
Philip Tabby?
Excuse me, sir.
Good morning, all.
2 minutes?
First, I want to give condolences to the family that spoke in the beginning. I want to share my concern for the lack of accountability this board has. Today's meeting agenda and written public comment has not been posted on the on the website, and that's unacceptable, Southers. Another unacceptable item is this meeting used to call a member in the audience for public comment, and then a member calling in from Zoom. Why has this changed without any notification to the public? Commissioner President Southers, are you the new dictator in the LAPD? These actions are unacceptable and need to be corrected immediately. I recently read a lawsuit against the department, and it looks like the past is coming to bite you in the butt. It's about warnings that were given by command staff, but instead of addressing issues, the LAPD loves to cover things up. As an example, long story short, Captain Smith de-escalated a situation where someone was suffering a mental health crisis that surrendered, and a couple hours later, surrendered. But some of your senior staff disagreed with Smith on a Zoom call with over 100 senior staff on the call. Why? You know who suffers though? The community. I do hope the media looks into this lawsuit. This retaliation moved one of the best captains Foothill ever had. Instead, we are still stuck with Captain Loose Hands Marco Lozano, one of the worst, if not the worst captain Foothill has ever seen. He has several complaints filed against him. Chief, let's sit down and talk about it. Foothill area residents and business leaders here are not happy. We demand a new captain. This isn't the first time talking about it here at the commission meeting, but the info may be a bit new to you, Chief. Lozano is a disgrace. Bring back the blue line flag. Investigate all crimes involving children, in particular the allegations against Scientology. Get rid of the COVID mandate. Bring back prayer. We are one nation under God. Oh, and thank you for firing Liz Rhodes. God bless the LAPD. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Phil Tabby.
Katrina Thomas.
I'm here today to speak on behalf of my brother Anthony Soule. He was murdered on July 6th. He died in police custody. We need the police to be accountable for what happened to my brother. We need the police to investigate his murder properly, and whoever is responsible for my brother's death need to pay for what they've done. My brother was not just a no, he wasn't a nobody. My brother dedicated 30 years of his life leading, encouraging, supporting, and coaching youth. He goes from elementary school to high school. He goes from all-star international professional competition teams, all-star teams across the state. My brother was loved and adored by many. He was loved and adored by many. He didn't deserve to die the way he did. He didn't deserve to be overlooked the way they overlooked him, like if he was nothing. They needed to be held accountable. They put handcuffs on my brother. He took his last breath and they just let him go. They let him go. He didn't deserve it. 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 And for him to say that his death was justified, how dare y'all pour salt on our wounds and say his death was justified? It's okay. It's okay. Our family traditions are broken. Every Christmas Eve was spent at his house. He hosted our family tradition for the last 10 plus years. He was the host for our family games. He called my daughter cries and called me crying 3 o'clock in the morning, and what am I to say? What do I say? I find my mother locked in her room. What do I say? What do I say? What do I do? My brother's good and they don't care. They don't care. He don't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. That's not fair. It's not fair. They didn't contact us with no information. They have his property. They haven't released his property. The only reason they released the video before they can give it to us was on the news. They didn't tell us anything. They still haven't told us anything. My brother's, his life, his passion, his purpose, his heart, it stirred. It's his heart. He served, he taught, he encouraged, he supported cheerleaders. Their whole purpose was to step out and to be loud. So at this point, the police need to do their job and take care of what happened. It's gonna go forward. It's not gonna stop. He matters.
Thank you, Madam Chief. It's another matter, if we want to look at the investigation, family notification upon the death of their brother.
If we could have somebody get the details. John?
And I'd ask the Inspector General's office if they can make contact and make sure that they are kept apprised of any information that they can be throughout the process. Thank you.
Yes, there's people in the audience with my office, and so we'll make that contact immediately.
This is a difficult day.
Next, we have Danny Clark.
I'm gonna speak, I'd like to speak on all the items. First of all, my condolences to the family and the brother who just spoke. My name's Danny. I'm with the Justice for Yamyang People's Committee. Just as the lady spoke, like with the officers today on the agenda, the officers who you guys are going to be talking about the disciplinary actions that were involved that day for Young's case. There's different responses that could have happened with who's there that day. And I'm wondering, was that the only and best course of action that had occurred that day? Because the cost of that was Young's life. I wonder, there's so many of these recurring incidents, and with Young's situation, it's like true safety and peace, has that been created that day and so forth, and that day when Officer Lopez, he was the first one in, he volunteered. And then he ended up shooting Young. And his reaction, the first thing he said after that was, who wants to cuff him up? And I think if it's like a protective use of force, that comes from a reaction of wanting to protect those who were there, and that's the best course of action. I think a lot of his teammates would be very thankful for him. And that would be a guttural reaction from a lot of the teammates that were there. That's for you guys to, if you can, or consider or think about that. For us, family members and friends and community of the Yang family, from our perspective, Young was one of his scariest days of his life. He always heard voices and said that people were after him, and on that day, that happened, and then he died. And being professionals and experts, I think that type of the ability to, how do you navigate and respond with, because he was, reacting with a common flight, fight, freeze reaction, and I do expect that from the professionals, to have that wisdom and to be able to navigate and respond accordingly, but I didn't see it. I don't see that. And I don't think that the end of his life was not the only end result, that the best result that could have happened. There could have been a lot of other responses, but the cost of this is the life of our beloved Young, So, anyways, thank you for letting me speak over the thing.
Thank you.
Megan?
Yeah, I just also want to say my condolences to the families who are here today. Shame on every one of you guys because you enabled it. So I organize with the Stop LAPD Spine Coalition and White People for Black Lives. Those organizations and Black Lives Matter, the People's City Council, come here every week to make sure that it's in the public record somewhere. The truth about LAPD, to speak the truth about Yang Yang and about Linda Becerra Moran. In just a year and a half since I've been attending these meetings, at least a dozen people experiencing mental health crises have been killed by LAPD. This is business as usual for LAPD. We have the deadliest police department in the country. The deadliest. Not the biggest, but the deadliest. It is racist and corrupt by every objective measure. We can't forget that policing, this police department, the origin story is in armed patrols who hunted down black people to return them to rich men who beat them and killed them with impunity and completely legal protection. And when they couldn't do that, those armed patrols stalked black people and criminalized them to send them to jail to be able to profit off of our labor. That's the beginnings of this institution. LAPD is now what it always has been. And this board, everybody sitting here, Rasha, Earl, Fabian, Teresa, Django, Mike, you do everything in your power to protect them. Yang Yang was killed in his parents' living room. He had, I'll quote from the LA Times, less than 10 seconds to comply with the Los Angeles police officer's commands before he was shot 3 times and died. The officer that killed him, he shot and wounded another mentally ill man in 2021, and because you all didn't do anything actual about that, he was available to kill their son. This is on you. I feel really lucky that my radicalization didn't come because I had to watch someone from my family be tortured and killed by LAPD. And Southers, how dare you say that Yang Yang was lost? He was murdered by your beloved institution that you work so tirelessly to shield from any criticism. And Kalanja, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Can we get the after-action reports? How about you stop killing people's kids? Will you ask for an after-action report for Linda Becerra Moran? No, because her parents can't come here, so you can't perform for them. You don't give a shit. I've been coming here weekly for over a year, and she doesn't give a shit. I'm sorry. Southerners willing to offer harm, willing to offer condolences for harm to a child, but not when your own precious officers cause it, not when the police organization that you found and molested over 200 kids, Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about, and when we have emotions and grief and rage about these truths, you kick us out, you tell us to shut up because it's not within the 45 minutes at 9:30 every other Tuesday morning that you allow for 3 million people to speak the truth for you. Shame on all of you.
Bravo.
I'm not going to mention anything really that Megan hasn't already just laid out extremely well. There is, it's proven by certain comments made today that there's not only this presupposition that crime is going to occur regardless of LAPD's intervention, there's a presupposition that LAPD itself is going to cause harm to the citizens it supposedly serves and protects. What the hell was that question, Kalanje, about the policy for how families are treated after their loved ones have been harmed or killed? And what about you, Errol and Raja, chiming in just now to look at the policy to ensure that families are kept apprised about whether their loved ones are alive or dead while they're in custody? You ask those questions in order to look good for the media presence today. All of you are carefully putting on your thoughtful listening faces, and for once in a while, kind of turning them towards this podium during public comment. But do you realize that the demand that Yang Yang's parents made of you all was to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And yet you're trying to update or express kind of vague concern about the policy for how to interact with grieving families, which assumes that there are going to be more grieving families in the future. How dare you be so disrespectful of these folks who came into this dystopic room to share their pain with the very same people who enabled their son's death in the first place. You all did enable it. There were countless incidences of murders of folks in mental health crisis by LAPD before Yang Yang was brutally shot down, and this commission did nothing. You have his blood on your hands. You have the blood of Linda De Sera Moran on your hands, another woman in mental health crisis who was also suicidal, who was anguished and crying as an officer shot her. No trainings could have saved her, or Yang Yang. No more money could possibly make LAPD anything other than the evil, corrupt institution that it is. Abolish the police. I'll yield the rest of my time.
How many times?
So looking at the police commission itself, there's a whole lot of stuff that we come here every week. But, what comes through is that it's a weaving together of three items that these fools preside over and make their decisions. Donations, police misconduct, which means murdering people, and the third one, expansion of the police state. More surveillance, more technology, and more targeting and stalking of people. And since, 1869 or whatever, they've been around, 170 years ago, 170 years now, they're still talking about de-escalation training. They're still talking about giving more resources. So if they haven't learned de-escalation, when do we expect them to learn? If you haven't learned anything in over 170 years, do you really expect that to change? That's not going to happen. 1/3 of the people that they murder have known mental health conditions.
1/3!
And people know that, and the LAPD knows that. Several names have been shared. Oconio, Moran, Yang, and we can go on and on and on and on and on. However, this is the people's representative.
Jesus.
This body, the functionaries of the state. Now we know as functionaries of the state, they work for the state. And they have to expand the power of the state. Simple things, license plate readers, pipeline to deportation, flock safety on the agenda. We've given them details about that how the information through Palantir, Gotham, and Palantir, Thunderbird have already been accumulated. Millions and millions. And now Peregrine technology. And now flock safety, which provides a portal. Where they can check people's immigration violation status as well. Pipeline to deportation. And to kick it all off, and this is where the kicker is, that they fired Liz Rhodes because she supposedly was following the law, following the California Public Records Act. Liz Rhodes is responsible for how they hide their violence by garnishing it into this constitutional bullshit and constitutional policing language. So this is the twisted nature of the LAPD. This is how they operate. And this is why you all are rubber stamp bodies and functionaries of the state. But we'll keep on fighting back, we'll keep on exposing you and disrupting you, and this will win.
You asked Jim if LAPD supports ICE. Jim said somewhat, and then you proceeded to simply forget what he said because you sounded like a staffer wrote out your questions verbatim. Your subsequent question was how to dispel the mere perception and dispel the fear that LAPD was aiding ICE. Reality check, it's not fear, it's a fact. LAPD has and always will aid ICE. You're a violent body, expect nothing less. And expect the public to know the reality even when you pretend not to. It should actually be no shock then that you've all granted $140 grand, putting it all up for grabs for new automatic license plate readers. I'm getting deja vu because I feel like we read you a whole fucking letter last month on the explicit and real harms of ALPRs. But it's okay, I understand. You weren't paying attention. Arrow, you probably were too busy thinking about how to brutalize kids on college campuses again. I'll break it down for you though. Automatic license plate readers, ALPRs, are used to document faces, plates, cars, and movements of populations that you and the state have deemed disposable. You even named that. You say that ALPRs target criminals and undocumented folks. Then you actively share that information between LAPD, ICE, DHS, and other federal agencies via the information sharing environment. I said it last meeting and I'll say it again. You and your piglets are the biggest fucking serial killers in this city. The Yang spoke of their son Young, who was killed by you 11 months ago, and his parents detailed the way that at every turn you chose the most evil option. Anthony Soto's sister spoke of Anthony's death after you killed him. This happened with Luna Baseta Moran too, when she called for help because she was being human trafficked and you all shot her. You handcuffed her and watched her beat to death while she was cuffed. She died in your custody. Young Yang died in your custody. And Russo all died in your custody. And yes, it's you. You metaphorically had everybody every time. Linda and Young and Andrew are not the only examples. Even if you use raw lethals, even if you provide mental health support, or even if you set it up there and not the literal shooter, you all choose to kill every time. Back in January, a child was stabbed and it took you all a fucking eternity to send paramedics because you instead sent pigs to brutalize children. Again. Your officers tried to stop medical care from being administered. You train and encourage your piglets to kill. Children, someone's son, someone's brother, someone's sister, someone's daughter. And the reason it's all possible is because you are there to clean up after the kill. You posture and you pose and you perform so that your little army of piglets can kill with their unfettered power, weapons, surveillance, and violence. Fuck you, I yield the rest of my time.
Next we have Adam. Okay. Pat Berry.
Thank you for the chance to speak to you, and I congratulate all of my brothers and sisters here fighting and resisting violence in the street. It's got to stop. And I hope, Jim McConnell, you will meet with me and my person that I'm advocating for, Celia Smith, because of the domestic violence that LAPD and its attorneys are engaging in against Celia Smith, a young black mother and a survivor of the domestic violence of Christopher Darden, your good friend. Brente, Soto, Warren are continuing the domestic violence in a federal lawsuit which Celia Smith filed against Darden, LAPD, the bar, and Los Angeles Superior Court, Smith v. Darden, case number 2401673. It is no surprise that Celia is a victim of LAPD's domestic violence and retaliation. The LA Times reported that numerous LAPD officers have engaged in racist, sexist, and gay invective against African Americans, Latinx, and lesbians over a long period of time. Celia's request to the LAPD in the lawsuit is simple. Finish what Chief Charlie Beck had started for his friend in January 2017, which was a criminal investigation of Darden's totally false and reprehensible report that Celia was threatening him and his family. When LAPD realized that Celia was innocent, it dropped the investigation. Darden continues to go after the mother of his child repeatedly by repeating the vile allegations made to Beck in 2017. is further retaliation against Celia when Celia requested LAPD 2 or 3 weeks ago to conduct a welfare check of her 12-year-old daughter, who she learned is not doing well in the sole custody of Darden, who literally stole the child thanks to Judge William Weinberger, who would not allow Celia to speak or present evidence after she had raised her child as a single black mother for 10 years. We need strong black mothers to raise their daughters. It is critical today because of the gender racism which continues in the United States, encouraged by monsters like Trump and Musk, who themselves were victims of domestic violence. When black women like Celia are abused by a government agency who promises to protect and defend, but instead harasses the domestic violence survivor like Celia and protects her perpetrator like that reprehensible Christopher Darden because he's an insider and gets everything he wants from LAPD, from the bar, and from LA Superior Court. It hurts every single one of us in this room. I am, and you are, connected to our sister Karina. You are connected to every family member who died, who had members die at the hands of LAPD officers. The officers themselves are as entangled with the people that they murder. We can't escape that we are all together in this mess. Jim McConnell, I beg you to stop this madness and force LAPD and its attorneys into a reasonable settlement with Celia. She has suffered enough thanks to LAPD, the bar, Los Angeles Superior Court, and Christopher Darden. For those who are interested in the federal lawsuit against Darden, LAPD, the bar, and LA Superior Court, I have an email, LA Mothers for Justice, one word lowercase at yahoo.com. Thank you again, but don't forget, we have to look at the values, but they're soft, they're sissy. Who wants to listen to women suggesting that maybe if you sent in officers without guns, without uniforms, who are trained to deal with the mentally ill, we could have such a different city. And I can't thank enough for the young men and women standing up for the families and the victims of LAPD violence. We have to stop it. We are becoming a Trumpian universe. Thank you so much for your kind attendance to what I have to say. And I'd like to have this made part of the record. I only made 5 for the commissioners and the chair. But I beg you to consider, we have to get rid of this violence.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next we have Keely.
His name is McDowell,